This is Gerardo Del Real with Resource Stock Digest. Joining me today is the president and CEO of Headwater Gold. Great time to have gold in the company name, Mr. Caleb Stroup. Caleb, it's great to have you back on. It's been a bit. How are you, sir?
I'm doing great. Good to be here.
No, listen, live from the field. I joked a bit off air that I love it when geos actually get in here and they got the maps, they're ready to cook, they're in the field, they're doing their thing. You had some news today that the market's actually picking up on. And typically, we've been in a market where outcropping high-grade veins, even in Nevada, weren't getting a lot of love. You're getting a little love in the market. I think people are understanding the potential significance of today's news. I wanted to have you back on. I'm not a geologist, but when I start hearing you, and I know you don't excite easy, start describing this as a compelling indication of scale and preservation of a mineral system, especially this type of mineral system, that gets me excited because you're in the newsletter. So tell me what today's news means to you.
Yeah, well, I mean, you have to put this news in the context of the bigger district that we're exploring in. So this is in the Walker Lane in Nevada, what's referred to as the Bodie Aurora district, which is probably not as well known as it should be, but it's a fantastic high-grade past-producing district that produced over 4 million ounces of gold at very high grades. Much of that was well over an ounce per ton historic production. And most of that occurred in the 1800s, which is why it's probably not as well known as it should be. The opportunity that we see here is that the known mineralization in the district was effectively what was just sticking out of the ground. There's a much broader belt of favorable geology that's covered by either near-surface barren alteration or post-mineral volcanic units that are a shallow masking unit over the potentially mineralized rock. We've had quite a bit of success out here over the last couple of years drilling through the alteration into high-grade veins and have been systematically putting together the larger scale geologic framework of what the true district scale target is for finding more of these high-grade vein systems within the broader corridor that we've now have under our control. So the news today was a new target area at Doug, which is about 9 kilometers away from our previous high-grade discoveries to the south. But what we think is it's along the same structural corridor that's controlling mineralization to the south. And we've previously announced some vein float that we found in this Doug area that had multi-gram per ton gold results. But we didn't know the significance of it necessarily because it was not in place. We didn't know, did it come from right here? Where did it come from? And now, for the first time, we've found a small outcrop, but an outcrop of true outcropping veins in place that have between 5 and 20 plus grams per ton gold in them. And so it's a little bit early to say exactly what that means in terms of drill targets at Doug, potential at Doug, in and around this outcrop as an example. But what is clear to me, at least, is this is a huge indication for the scale potential of the property. That we've got almost 15 kilometers of strike extent of this structural corridor in our control, and so far, almost everywhere we see windows through that post-mineral rock, we see gold mineralization. So the question is there something bigger going on here? And as you know, this is a project that's in partnership with Newmont. They're funding exploration out here. So that really is the goal for both of us, is to discover a true Newmont-size high-grade gold asset in Nevada.
I'm going to ask you a leading question that I know the answer to, but it's a great answer. What is acceptable for Newmont when they come into an earn-in agreement? I know what they look for. For people that may not be familiar with what majors are looking for as far as target size, what's the bare minimum for them to keep skin in the game and keep going forward, right? What excites them?
Yeah, well, I'm always careful not to speak directly for Newmont because that's not my job. What they're publicly talking about, though, is looking for new tier 1 assets in favorable jurisdictions with high the top quartile grade. And Nevada is a place that can absolutely deliver that. It's definitely, a multi-million ounce type threshold that they're looking for. And same with us. So, we're really looking for these tier one type discoveries in a place like Nevada, especially a well-endowed, historic mining district is a great place. And, news like today where we're seeing, true scale potential on district scale structures, I think is all pointing in the same direction. But when you interview them, you can ask them exactly what they're looking for.
Let me ask you another question. You have a business model that I really, really appreciate because, yes, you do have a lot of partner-funded exploration where, sure, you give up a bulk of the project, but you retain a significant amount, right? And you mitigate dilution, which is all it's great if you can find a tier one asset in a great jurisdiction. There's enough meat on that bone left for shareholders to benefit from that. But you also have some 100% owned projects that in themselves could potentially be company moneymakers. Can you speak to that strategy and just what the rest of 2025 looks like? Because I know this is an inflection year for Headwater. It's a year of exploration that I know you want to turn into a year of discovery. This, I believe, sets the table well for that. Can you speak to the plans here moving forward?
Yeah, so first of all, with the Newmont partnerships in Spring Peak and the adjoining property at Lodestar, those are earned in agreements where we're carried all the way to pre-feasibility. We retain a 25% interest plus a royalty, which is a 2% NSR on all the ground that we've acquired through claim staking in the area, which is the vast majority of it, and a 1% NSR on some small inlier pieces that we have brought into the projects. So I guess that's really the value proposition that people should be thinking about. With success, a company like Headwater, small market cap, has the potential to have a 25% interest plus a 2% royalty in a Newmont size pre-feasibility stage new high-grade gold discovery.
And you have the potential to do that many times over, right, within the portfolio.
That's right. And so more broadly in the portfolio, we've got, I'll call it about a dozen projects that are at various stages, several of which are completely drill ready. The targets are totally fleshed out and ready to go test. Several of them are new acquisitions that are working, through that targeting phase. And we're working on multiple different fronts right now on our portfolio. And I don't want to disappoint you, but we're not quite ready to offer our full guidance on exactly what and when we're going to, be out drilling and testing this year. I will say, since we've, the history of the company, since its inception, we've drilled something like 3 to 5 projects a year.
Yeah.
And that's definitely 2025 is on pace for that. But there's a lot of moving parts right now with all sorts of things. New properties coming in, potential partnerships on our existing properties, properties that, we're making a decision on if we're going to drill them or if we're going to look to bring in another partner, things like that. So there's a little bit too many positive things
that's
in the air right now to give you guidance. I don't want to tell you we're going to drill one and then turn around and do something else.
Yeah.
But expect a busy year and, something on track with what we've delivered in the past.
No, listen, I think your timing is absolutely perfect. So look, folks, expect drilling. Which projects we'll find out. How much we'll find out. But you keep delivering news like today's news, Caleb, and I think you're going to get a lot of conversation and dialogue around Headwater and the projects and the districts now that you've been able to stake. I know you've been busy setting up for, a very busy 2025. So I'm looking forward to seeing how that plays out and how that develops now that you have a lot of the pieces in place. And you sound like you're finalizing some of the other pieces. So looking forward to having you back on for that. Anything to add to that?
No, I think that's a good summary. And just as a reminder, we have between $2.5 and $3 million in the bank right now too. So we're funded to do some meaningful work as well. It's not like we have to go back to the market to raise money anytime soon. But yeah, just be a bit patient as all the pieces fall into play here.
Beautiful. Thank you for coming on. Looking forward to more news. Congrats on the news today.
Okay. Thanks a lot.
Cheers.
Yep. Bye.
Hey everybody, Gerardo Del Real here. If you're enjoying the content that you just saw, you can let us know in 3 simple steps. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and please share across your network and on social media. Take care, everybody.